Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast, where we talk about the best TV show on streaming, Warriors. Episode 5?
Yeah.
We're 5 episodes into the season already?
Yep.
It's going by too fast, guys.
I know.
We need to slow it down a little bit. Slow it down. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader's here.
Hi.
Everybody's back in the studio today.
We're all here.
Yay! What's up? Jude's also here.
Hello.
Hello. I'm thoroughly looking forward to your synopsis today. Because, like you said last week, because we're not ever going to be the companion podcast.
Yeah.
We might as well sex it up a little bit. So let's go. And Kadish is also here. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, so speaking of the companion podcast, Jude and I have been checking out those episodes. They are the official podcast of the TV show produced by...
They don't talk about dick at all. It's weird.
No dick?
No dick, no fuck palace, nothing about Penny or...
What are they talking about?
I finally had to break down and look up the actor who plays Penny.
Oh, yeah.
And she's not coming back for season 3 at all.
Not at all, huh?
Yeah.
I figured as much.
Yeah,
When she-
Wait, is
I
that's the
know.
mayor's wife?
They-
I kept
yeah.
holding out hope that they're going to get her out of the asylum at some point,
No.
but it
You
doesn't
know-
look like it.
So we might as well talk about that before we get into this episode, because like Penny's not here, and
Yeah.
we like I think your last synopsis was like, where the fuck is Penny?
Yeah.
And Sophie's not here.
Sophie's not there either.
All the Mercers are gone.
Fucking Sophie better
Just-
not come
just
back
wrote 'em
without
off.
Penny.
I was thinking about like obviously the real world situation with this movie, this TV show being canceled. Like you have to maneuver things around a little bit. The best case scenario is rip the Band-Aid off, move forward. The storyline with those two is pretty much over anyway. I mean, what are you gonna do with Penny?
It was, yeah. It was
She's
just,
gonna like, what, come back and get revenge? Like,
Yeah.
what's Penny gonna do? Like,
She still has a fortune and like the legacy of her father.
Yeah, but she's not gonna.
you know,
her father
the,
was a
the more I
dimwit.
think about it, I kind of like the ending that
They-
she's just sitting there
Yeah.
rotting away in
Listen.
a psycho asylum.
Like,
it's like, yeah, that's what a terrible way to go out.
That is an awful ending for a
It's-
character.
it's kinda
But
deep.
It's
I
like,
kinda
Jude,
like it.
we pointed out.
Yeah.
that shit happened.
Yeah.
happened.
That you go into the insane asylum as a in the 1800s or whatever. You're like, you ain't coming out. You're gonna get lobotomized. They're gonna do all kinds of weird shit to you.
I'm normal.
No, you're not. Yeah, like shock you. I don't know if they did
Well, you
electric shock back
were.
then or not, but
Yeah.
like there's a lot of sketchy, weird things that they did back
Yeah.
then with psychology and with experimenting on people. So like for all the dark endings in this show, like all the characters who have died and
Yeah.
whatever, like Penny got the bad end of the stick for
Yeah,
sure.
Oh,
you know-
especially like when you cross Buckley, like he doesn't hold back.
Oh yeah,
And that's one of the things that about this show is that a lot of the times they shine a spotlight on something that like a woman in power, like a toy or Davenport
How hard they
or
have it, yeah.
Penny, Eliza, these characters that are struggling to maintain power and the shit that can come down so fucking hard on you when you're not like a white man in this time.
Oh, we
Yeah.
also saw what happened to Mai Ling in the last episode, where basically, the banker husband makes a pass at her.
Yeah, and
rejects
she
it.
gets blamed for it, and she goes to jail.
Well, but the wife basically just orchestrates it to punish her.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's kind of funny because getting back to the companion podcast. First of all, Hoon Lee all day long. Thank you. He's fantastic. I don't even know why they have that other woman on there with him.
Oh,
Like,
don't
it should
be
just
the-
Because she's a legit journalist.
Yeah, I know.
And she's a legit fan of the show.
I know, but like Hoon Lee, man, like how do you compare?
You
But-
can't. We
but
can't.
Yeah.
What was funny is that so the very first episode of the companion podcast, it's an interview with Jonathan Tropper, and apparently all of his friends just call him JT.
Oh.
So
Well,
yeah, exactly. So we will continue to refer to him as Jonathan Tropper. But he
I
was.
think it's clear he would prefer us not to call him JT.
Yeah, exactly.
so JT, shut the fuck up, nerd.
But
We already have a JT anyway.
these companion podcasts are actually kind of interesting because they don't really give you like a whole lot of like dirt behind the scenes, but they give you some insights into like what it's like to work on the show. Like we learned that when Andrew Koji, who's the guest on episode 3, he was getting ready to quit acting before he got cast as
wow.
Sahm. Yeah, and Jonathan Tropper was talking about the research that they did for this show, and he was like, unfortunately, like there's not a lot of stuff on Google. there's not a lot of stuff that was recorded by the Chinese during that time period.
Yeah, they didn't really keep records of what was going on.
So like they actually had to go and like dig through like archives and stuff like that to learn about like the real historical figures during this time period. And a lot of it was just based off of this 8-page treatment that Bruce Lee wrote for this show. And so like they kind of like, had to like start doing like the dirty work of digging through it and figuring out, okay, like who are we basing stuff on? Like apparently a toy was based off of like an actual like person during that time period.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
yeah. So highly recommend checking out the companion podcast.
Yeah.
It's very interesting if you like to get more insights on the show.
I would just like to point out that Young Jun and Big Dick, no, not Big Dick Lee, Young Jun and Big Bill followed me on Instagram,
Yeah.
which is super cool. So
Good
shout
for
out to
them.
those guys. They're awesome.
Speaking of Young Jun, there's a thing I want to talk about after Jude does her synopsis.
On that note,
Okay.
let's get into it. Take it away.
All right, Warrior, Season 3, Episode 5, Whiskey and Sticky, and all the rest can wait. Mai Ling's getting deloused in the clinker just as Young Jun finds himself in a holding facility with hundreds of Chinese waiting to be deported, leaving empty seats of power in both tongs. Li Yong seeks support from their allies, but everyone's real pissed that Mai Ling spent a third of the Tong's money playing dress-up with the ducks. Buckley makes promises to the white San Franciscans to a real lukewarm response, while 2/3 of the three best friends lurk nearby trying to figure out a rescue plan for June. Inside, ever the great judge of character, Young Jun makes friends with a group of fellow Chinese that it turns out the Hopway ruined all their lives, and Young Jun finally gets what's been coming to him for 5 episodes. When he wakes from his beating, who should be by his side but Father June? Buckley and Not a Ginger have a strategy session, and once he closes his eyes and thinks crimson thoughts, he gets bonery enough to close the deal with her. And then he heads on over to Mai Ling's jail cell where she strikes up a new deal with him. Kevin Spacey runs through Chinatown, literally ripping children from their mother's arms, and Bill has finally had enough. Throwing down his badge and washing his hands of the corrupt police force, he runs straight into the loving arms of too good for him Lucy, who's thrilled he's done with police work. Chow and Happy Jack decide what to do with their mutual enemy, Big Dick Lee of the Dick Department. Chow lures the entire Dick Squad into a trap and gets double-crossed by Happy Jack. Young and Father June make a plan to take out as many bulls as they can on the way to the ship, just as Sahm barters a deal with Mai Ling to get Young Jun out of the deportation center, and Father June joins him. Davenport has plans to rebuild and asks Atoy to join her. Atoy rejects her, gets full custody of the girls, and Davenport has officially run its course. Li Yong confronts Mai Ling about making another deal without him, and she proposes marriage to distract him. And is it just me, or is he about to do to her what she did to her last husband? Discuss.
So
a lot more there than I remembered.
yeah,
A lot happened in this episode. But again, it was
I mean,
like a very
this
plot
one-
character-driven episode.
Yeah.
Very tense. What were you going to say?
I said it was just very fast, just like you said.
Yeah.
So I would like to go back to Young Jun just
Okay.
for a second. So the big twist at the beginning of this episode is that Young Jun's not going to jail. He's going to be deported back to China, and he tries to tell the guards. He's like, "Hey, I'm an American citizen. I was born here."
That was tragic.
Yeah,
Honestly, it was tragic.
Yeah,
and-
he's never even been to China.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't speak the language for
Yeah.
some reason. But
They're
basically,
not allowed to leave the...
Hopway territory.
Spent his
Yeah.
whole life in
Yeah.
Chinatown,
Yeah.
man.
But so basically, he gets stuck in this scenario where he's like, I'm going to be shipped to China. So he's kind of desperate, and he's looking for these allies. And this one guy comes up to him, and he's like, "Hey, you're the leader of the Hopway. I look up to you and stuff like
He's
that."
like, it's an honor just talking
Yeah.
to you. You want
Yeah.
to hang out?
And so he lures Young Jun back into like a secluded area where all of his buddies are waiting. And it turns out all these guys have been wronged by the Hopway, and they're looking to kill Young Jun. And in every Warrior episode, there's multiple like fantastic fight scenes. It's like some of the best fight choreography like ever filmed. And like we see a lot of awesome versus multiple guys, but this is the first time that we've actually seen Young Jun all by himself
Yeah.
take on.
And he
like,
doesn't have any weapons, and he's a knife guy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's a great scene where like he just reflexively goes back to
And
pull
reaches
his
for his
eyes
knives,
out,
and he's like,
and
shh.
yeah, and they're not there. And this is one of the most, I think, brutal fight scenes that we've ever seen on Warrior because basically Young Jun, he's not as skilled as a Sahm, so he's getting beaten.
The shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's taking on all these guys, but at the end of the fight, he gets messed up big time.
Yeah.
And this to me was like one of the highlights of this season so far because that fight scene was just so freaking brutal.
Yeah.
I loved where they took this character. Because we've been saying for a couple episodes, like, what in the heck is going on with Young
Yeah,
Jun?
he's being a little bitch. He needs a beating. Yeah.
I finally have a little bit of empathy towards.
Right? Yeah, that was the problem. Is we're like, oh, God,
He's
Young
such a-
Jun's
he's
such
such
a
a
freaking
douche-noz.
douche,
Yeah.
right?
I'm not
And
sure
then-
if it was this episode or the next one, but when he admits to Assam, he was like, I
Yeah.
was being a bitch.
Yeah.
And now I'm not going to be.
Yeah.
Cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice to see him in a situation where he could not rely on Assam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was really important for his character.
Yeah.
It humanized him a little bit.
Little growth.
It allowed him to reflect. It was a very well written episode for a Young Jun character. And I just, but yeah, I do agree. Like this fight scene was one of my, I don't know if it was one of my favorites, but it was really fun to watch, really interesting. I love seeing Young Jun go on his own against all these guys, and he couldn't win.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like
I
it-
mean, compared to like a lot of the other fight scenes that are like so like martial arts choreographed, this one was very down and dirty. Like he wasn't doing Jeet Kune Do, like he was just like brawling.
Yeah, he was like he was using anything he could as a weapon.
He held his own for a little bit.
for a little bit.
And there was
Yeah.
there was a few flips and kicks and
You notice that like
jumping off the wall and stuff.
when-
But it was a little dirtier
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
watching an awesome fight. It
when
was interesting.
Assam, you know what I thought about, like what's the difference between Young Jun and Assam when he's fighting multiple people? When Assam hits somebody, they don't get back up.
Yeah.
When Young Jun hits somebody, they get back up and they come after him again. Like he's going after these same guys
Even
multiple
those,
times.
the way it was choreographed, some of them probably shouldn't have
Well,
gotten back up.
But
That was
also,
like-
Young Jun has made it a point multiple times where he's like, I'm useless without my knives.
Yeah.
Like he's a knife fighter. So like when he strikes, like it's meant to be like a quick like knife slash or something like that. This is the first time like I think we've actually seen him fight with his fists, and he was not quite up to
Nope.
his usual skill
Yeah.
level.
Not quite as effective.
But unbeknownst to anyone, Father June's been making weapons.
Well, but that's the cool thing about the big twist in this episode is that Father Jun returns,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and he's the one who kind of like is nursing Young Jun back to health after he got like messed
Yeah.
up in this fight.
Turns out he was in the same deportation center, and
Yeah.
when Young June is passed out, he finds his son, helps nurse him back to health, and then gives him a
last
weapon.
time we saw Father Jun was
was
that,
walking off
like,
into the
like,
sunset,
he
yeah.
was basically like leaving everything behind, and so like I didn't expect to see him again this season.
Yeah.
I'm
I
glad he's back.
kind of
Yeah.
figured he would just because of some social media posts that I've been seeing online. I didn't know when, and I'm glad that they took the time to explain it because immediately when he showed up in the deportation, I was like, okay, I need to know how this happened. And within seconds,
They
Yeah.
did.
Young Jun or Father Jun was like, "This is how it happened." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you."
It's like,
That's-
what
Yeah.
are you doing here?
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Yeah.
let me.
'Cause that was my first question. I'm like, "Dude,
I
you
left San Francisco and immediately got scooped up. no.
came right back."
No.
I went and hung out with some dudes up north, and
Yeah.
all these bad white people came and said, "Get the fuck out."
Yeah.
And we said no, and then next thing you know, here we are.
Yeah.
Basically, is what it was.
Which is fine. I just needed something. Like if he would just popped up and it would have been some vague, like, "Oh, I couldn't get out of San Francisco." Like, "Oh, come on, you just wanted to get the actor back because you liked working with him."
Well, in addition to Father Jun showing back up and giving us that explanation, they also explained like why it would be a bad idea to go back to China, because both Father Jun and Young Jun, they're like, okay, like we either go there and get killed quickly by our enemies, or we die slowly from starvation, disease, like
Yeah.
poverty.
I
all
thought that
stuff.
Father June still had connections in China, though.
He
Because
he does.
That's why he was so adamant about like continuing. What?
Oh no, I was gonna say I feel like Father Jun is a big fish in a small pond in San Francisco, but if
Yes.
he were to go back to China, he would be hardly anybody. They'd be like, "Who are you? Oh, you're that guy from San Francisco. Like, get out of here. Oh yeah, you're
saying
you're
you-
like a low
yeah,
level
yeah.
Tong member."
Wait, you guys aren't buying our stuff anymore.
Yeah, that too.
That would have been interesting to see.
Yeah, but it sets up the desperation of their situation very well, which kind of dovetails into an awesome storyline where basically he's trying to figure out a way to save Young Jun before he gets shipped off to China. And so we have a lot of great scenes between Awesome and Chow, not Chow, Hong,
Yeah.
where they're trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to rescue our friend? And Awesome, in desperation, turns to a newly freed Mai Ling, where he's kind of worked out like that she's got some political pull, and so he's like, hey, I need you to, save Young Jun. And so Mai Ling bends him over and is basically like, okay, I'll take
50% of
50%
everything.
of
Yeah.
all the Hopway stuff in exchange for helping him. And so Awesome reluctantly agrees. And that kind of, it's great because they're able to save Father Jun and Young Jun. And the scene where like they see Father Jun return is pretty priceless.
Yeah.
But it kind of sets Young Jun and Awesome at odds again, because Young Jun is very pissed off that Awesome made that deal.
Yeah.
But there's a great scene at the end of this episode where Awesome basically says, like, I didn't make this deal with Mai Ling. You did by being stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very important scene. But
Yeah.
before we get into that, I need to ask some questions about
Okay.
Mai Ling.
Okay.
Okay, so Mai Ling, real quick. She gets captured. Obviously, last episode, she gets taken
That
in.
bitch Eliza.
That bitch, that blonde bitch.
She's gonna get it coming to her. Yeah.
Mai Ling is already planning that.
Yeah. In the
for
words
sure.
of a god, this bitch is toast.
But I have a question about Mai Ling and how she got out of the jail. Obviously, she knows Buckley, and she was like, she paid the Pinkerton guy, gave him the picture, or I guess Li Yong gave him the picture and says, "Here, blackmail Buckley into letting Mai Ling out."
No. That wasn't what happened.
It wasn't.
No.
That's what it looked like happened.
So basically, the only way that Buckley was going to allow Mai Ling to be free was if they gave up their leverage on him. So like they were delivering the original pictures of Buckley serving as a Confederate soldier,
So he can tuck it away. Okay.
so that they no longer were able to blackmail him.
Yeah.
Right.
And he said, "Well, you're no longer useful to me, and basically, I have the leverage you had against me. So what's the new deal?" And she was like, "All right, here's the new deal."
Yeah, but she offered it. Okay, so this is why I was confused about this point. There's one point of confusion for me was, how did Buckley get in there? I know he's the mayor and all, or stand-in mayor or whatever, but how did he get in there and free a Chinese quote-unquote prostitute or whatever they labeled her as when they arrested her, and then not get any kind of blowback from that? Nobody's going to talk about that?
The mayor has the ability to pardon whoever he wants.
Yeah, but nobody's going to be like, why'd you pardon her?
Well, they're all corrupt.
Yeah.
He just
Who
told
gives a
us. He
shit?
just told the cops, "Go turn around. Don't worry about what's going on right now." I'm like, okay, boss.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
don't.
I feel
Everybody
like,
knows who Mai Ling is.
You're thinking about it too
I'm
hard.
like, somebody's going to... I feel like
So
somebody
what-
needs
does
to
it-
use
does-
that against Buckley.
Doesn't matter a whole lot.
I mean, it just was like a little easy for her to get out. A little easier
I
than
mean,
I thought it was going
this
to
has
be.
been a thing through this entire series. It's like you go to jail, you get let out because
Well,
people are corrupt and they get
I
bought
also
off.
think
Fair.
that a part of the deal that we didn't see is Mai Ling kind of promising some votes from like the Chinese.
The Chinese can't vote. She's got no leverage, which is another question where I'm like, why is he letting her out at all? Like, oh, I promise you peace. Like last season, you were promising him war.
Well,
Right.
maybe
What's happening?
Maybe she put a red wig on. You know.
Yeah.
I have so many questions about the logistics behind Mai Ling and Buckley at this point, because Buckley doesn't need her anymore.
Buckley's feeling a little desperate right now.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Because
This was a very Buckley centric episode in the sense that we got more of him this episode than we have in the past.
Dude, Buckley got his nub rubbed.
Yeah, he was going down with the gross not brunette,
Yeah.
Or not redhead.
not redhead,
Not
yeah.
a ginger.
Not a ginger.
Not a ginger.
Yeah, and his whole platform is the Chinese problem.
Yeah.
So if he's getting desperate because like Thayer's campaign is miles ahead of his, and he's the current acting mayor. He should have been a shoo-in, but he's not, and he's having problems. So his only platform is the Chinese problem, and Mai Ling is the only person who can help him.
And there was a great scene in here with where he's talking with his girlfriend. I
Not a
guess.
ginger?
Not a
Not a
ginger.
ginger.
Where he specifically states he's like, you know what, I'm always used to working from the shadows.
Yeah.
I always thought the people that I was like, behind were the fools, and now I'm in that position and I don't know what to do. And so like the not a ginger is basically like, I'll be your Buckley, you know, and then she grabs his dick. and Buckley's like,
oh, I never thought to do that before.
Yep.
yeah, Buckley gets really into it really quick.
Oh, dude, he was like, oh my God, this is what sex feels like.
He's like, just so you know, I never did this for marriage.
It's so weird to me because, you know, I like the weird sex scenes, right? But
Buckley?
there's just
But Buckley? Getting his rub nubbed?
Buckley and that it's just like I don't want to see this.
It's because she's not a ginger.
I don't know.
If
what
she was
it
a
is.
ginger, he'd be all about it.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. We still don't have an answer.
She's probably a ginger in real life.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah, she's just wearing a wig.
Yeah, I feel like the actor was like, hey man, how come everybody in this show gets to like, you know, have a scene?
He's like,
and
I
all
want my scene.
I get to do is be a dick and walk around with my cane all the time. I was like, I want a sex scene, JT.
I want to be
Just
sexy
throw
too.
one in there, okay, buddy?
I want to be sexy too.
I want my nut rubbed. So yeah, I don't know.
She's like, you have everything I need.
So we
Except half a leg.
also got some Li Yong action in this episode, where with Mai Ling being in jail, he's kind of the de facto head of the
And they
of the
want
Tong.
him to take over.
And the elders of the council are very clear that they do not approve of Mai Ling, and so Li Yong, you know, being Mai Ling's biggest simp.
Tell me about it.
Like he sees the writing on the wall, and he's very worried about like you know, Mai Ling getting dethroned, and he still wants to protect her and save her from you know, the prison situation she's in. And we get a great scene with Mark Dacascos, who basically shows up and he's like, hey, I'll always back you, but Mai Ling did fuck up big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think that's something that's really interesting about this episode too, is that we're looking at each side's right hand. And everyone has been expecting Sahm to take over and undermine Young Jun, and he doesn't. He gets him out. And Li Yong has every reason to take over and leave Mai Ling behind. She's constantly doing that to him. He has the support.
He even says it to her. I think in this episode, he's like, you've been making deals and you don't talk to me about it.
And both right hands have come through for their person in power. That's really interesting. The level of faith that they have in
Loyalty.
the loyalty. Yeah.
I could kind of understand Assam's position. Like, sure, I could see him not wanting to take the reins just yet. Maybe he's got some other things in mind. Also, the Tong is in this weakest point right now, so he might not want to take it anyway. But Li Yong, like his going full simp for Mai Ling. Like, I get they're in love and they're a couple and it's a thing, but I'm like, oh, bro, like she would freaking screw you over in a heartbeat if it got her more power. And he's just like, I waited for you.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me about these deals? I can help you. And she's like, oh, it's okay.
I can't help you.
She put a ring on it, and he got distracted.
Yeah, totally. She flashed her tits. She's like, hey, you want to get married? And he's like, oh my God, yes, I do. I'm like, bro, what the
Can I wear white?
What is happening right now, dude? Like, you've got your whole backing of the elders, the Tong, the whole thing. They're all going, dude, you need to take over. This is getting ridiculous.
Sometimes I get confused.
She screws him over again.
Yeah.
I get confused about how these Tongs are ran sometimes. It's like, what do the elders have
a
to do?
documentary or a documentary?
Like,
a democracy?
Why
or
would she give a shit what these elders have to say? She's the boss.
Yeah.
Fuck the elders. Cut their heads off.
Well, she wasn't the boss at the time that the elders were meeting, because basically, like, as soon as she was in jail, she was pretty much gone.
She needs the Orion Ishii the shit out of these people.
Again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like, the next one of you.
But Li Yong,
just like Young Jun and Sahm staged a coup against Father Jun, the elders wanted Li Yong and Mark Dacascos to do the same thing to Mai Ling.
Yeah.
Because she's been stupid. She blew
Aggressive,
a third of their money.
Dude, did you see his face when he's like, are you going to be able to get the money back? And she's like, nah.
Yeah, she's like, it's gone.
He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That was all of our money.
Yeah.
Dude, I do not understand.
She just wanted to play dress up in the white lady's house.
But that was also a good setup for like her making the deal with Sahm.
Yeah.
To rescue the.
She's low on funds.
Juns, yeah.
Wasn't she trying to invest some of that money?
Yeah.
It's gone now.
But
they stole it.
The white guy took it.
Yeah.
I do not understand Li Yong's position at this point. I need more from him.
I just feel like she was trying to do what was best with
I
the
feel
money and
I
make
feel like he's gonna
more.
try and kill her.
It's not like
He has to.
Did you get that vibe too?
Yes.
Sorry, V.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's good.
Yeah, I totally agree with both of you right now. Like, yes, she was overly aggressive with her trying to invest things, and she trusted the wrong people. Didn't make any sense. We all called that episode. We were like, she made a big mistake there.
Yeah.
Also, Li Yong, I'm getting the vibe like he's gonna have to kill her.
He has to Jon Snow Khaleesi her.
Yeah, that's what you said.
I did that last
Dude,
night.
you literally said yes. We were watching it together, and in the group chat, he goes, "There's gonna be a Jon Snow moment coming up," and I'm like, "Oh my
100%.
god!"
I fully expected in their final embrace for him to.
Oh, you killed me! Like,
Yeah.
because you're freaking fucking
and then her
everything up.
dragon comes over and burns her.
Sure, yeah.
Drogon comes
honestly,
in.
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I fully expect Li Yong to do something along those lines before the end of the season.
Yeah, but is Li Yong Jon Snow?
Sorry about the spoiler if you haven't watched season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Too bad for you.
So Big Bill basically quits the force.
Thank
finally.
God.
Yeah,
Back
finally.
with Lucy.
Yeah, because Kevin Spacey's a real asshole.
Kevin Spacey's
Yeah.
psycho.
Kevin Spacey sucks.
But Bill's like he gets back with his wife and he's like, I want to be a better man. I thought being a cop would help me do that, but I quit. I will work for your brother-in-law. I don't care what it takes. I just want to be back with you.
Called it.
And of course, Lucy just starts making out with him.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
she's
absolutely.
like, hold on. Quit or fired? And he's like, meh.
That's
Six in one, half a dozen in the other. She's like, fuck it.
But
I'm wondering, like, are we going to see any more of Bill, or was this like
Story's
his
over.
final scene?
That's it.
No.
Oh,
He's gonna
no,
team up
he's
with-
gonna be
he's-
back.
yeah.
Yeah, because Lee and Bill, and like even after that scene, Lee and Bill got together again,
Mm-hmm.
and so like there's still more for that relationship too. I think Bill is gonna come in for Lee's rescue.
Well,
Yes.
here's the thing though. So like with Lee's storyline, basically, Chow realizes that Big Dick Lee is going to be a problem because he's too good of a cop, and so
He's working for the Dick Department.
yeah. And so when Awesome goes to Chow to basically talk about like their options to save Young Jun, he says that basically Happy Jack knows that we paid him with like fake money.
Yeah.
And so we have to make that right. And when he goes and gives Happy Jack, the actual funds with real money, he sets up Happy Jack to take out Big Dick Lee. And Happy Jack, he shows him like the wanted poster, and he's like, I get paid whether he's alive or dead. And this surprises Chow because he didn't know that there was a bounty out on Big Dick Lee. But Chow sets Lee up.
How much is the bounty?
$500.
$500.
Okay.
Yeah. So Chow sets Big Dick Lee up and has him come to his workshop or whatever it is, his warehouse, where he says like, I have information about like the counterfeiters. And while they're there, Happy Jack's men kill the other Secret Service guy and then kidnap Big Dick Lee to turn him in for the bounty. But then Happy Jack says like, hey, the principle of you ripping me off,
Double cross.
Yeah.
I don't like that. So he then knocks Chow out too to deliver him
Dude,
along with Big
When
Dick
this
Lee.
gun came out
Yeah, yeah.
at Chow,
Yeah.
I was like, no!
Dude, I was freaking out
I
during this
freaked
sequence.
out.
I
Yeah.
was already like, holy shit, did Chow just put a hit on Big Dick
Yeah.
Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like,
did they really
whoa.
just kill the other
Yeah.
dick member?
Yeah. Did the main
So now
Treasury
it's
Department
gotta
guy
be
die?
Bill and Lee.
That's what I'm saying.
It's gotta be
I'm
Bill
saying,
and Lee.
If they, it's off screen. We didn't see a body, so he's not dead until we see that. It was a gunshot that we heard off screen. We don't. He's probably still
We
alive.
saw him drop though, didn't we?
I don't know. Unless we see a dead body get
I don't-
thrown
I
into
need
the
to
water.
replay it.
Yeah, no. Unless we see a dead body thrown in the water, he's not dead yet. But I do agree that Big Dick Lee, when he gets, I don't know, whatever happens.
We're gonna get the buddy cop episode
when he
of
gets
our
shanghaied.
lives.
when he's gonna get rescued by Bill, or Bill's gonna have something to do with this, and he's gonna
I
have
mean,
a.
Bill needs a job.
And now, if Bill joins up with the Treasury Department, he will outrank Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
And he gives that desk of his.
Yeah, I kind of see Bill going into the Secret Service here very soon.
For sure. Yeah. You can't get rid of Big Dick. I'm sorry, I keep getting the big
Bill.
guy. I'm keep getting the big guys mixed up.
So Big Dick Lee is a deputized member of the Secret Service. With his partner dead, he could probably do the same thing that guy did.
He can
where
deputize Bill.
He deputizes Bill as a federal agent.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I want that team up. I want 2 guys.
Is this it? Is this the double cross?
It's coming up soon, I think.
No, this is
No, this isn't it. This isn't it. Okay.
Just because I know we talked about this in last season, but just to reiterate, the $500 bounty on Big Dick Lee is worth $15,200
Okay.
today in today's value.
Really? That's it?
Yeah, $15K.
Okay.
Chow.
It's not going to change your life.
Chow surprised me.
Well, when
really-
you consider like how much like a nickel was worth back in those days, like 15,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah. Chow surprised me when he put the hit on Big Dick Lee.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that was a bit dark for him.
Yeah.
He's usually
He's just doing what's got to be done. Man.
I understand. But I'm loving how much Chow we're getting, though.
His level of ruthlessness
It's gone up.
is exactly determined by
How much business
what
he's losing.
Business is, exactly.
Well, going back to the companion podcast, so Hoon Lee is a writer on the show this season. So, we've pointed out how in the episodes beforehand, like we've been getting some like really primo Chow time on here, and I think that's because Hoon Lee's like, I'm just going to write myself some awesome stuff to do.
Is he getting writing credits at the end of the episodes?
No,
I forgot to check.
but I think he's part of like just the writer's room, so like he has some input. But I think he might have written like 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah, he said that he wrote 1 episode, like a full episode.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to see his name on the end of the credits. So.
But Chow this season has really kind of been stepped up as a character. Like he's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And of course we also have Atoy and Lai coming back.
Can I just say, thank freaking God.
Yeah.
That they stuck to the breakup this time around. Thank you. Thank you. Whoever you are out there was like,
sometimes it takes a couple of times.
Oh God, I was so sick and tired of those 2 people.
You know how many times he's tried to break up with me?
It's like Davenport's cool by herself. Atoy's awesome by herself.
Yeah.
The 2 of them together, I'm just like,
I never liked that character.
Davenport?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's never trusted her.
No. Well, I thought she was chopping people up. It's too easy.
You can't convince me
slave
that Buckley's
labor.
not chopping people up.
Buckley's
also.
100% chopping people up. That storyline will come to fruition at some point in time.
That gross brunette is gonna find a bunch of parts.
Yes.
Buckley's got a sex dungeon somewhere.
100%. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to happen in season 3, but in season 4, we're going to find out what Buckley's
She's
doing.
just gonna like go get something out of the fridge. It's gonna just be like
It's gonna be
a lady's hand.
Right. Or if he didn't, JT's listening to our show right now going,
Oh, write that down.
Season
it's a
4,
good
Sex
idea.
Dungeon, Buckley.
Yeah.
I like how you're referring to Tropper as being
It's my buddy now.
He's good
Matt, those are my best friends.
At least he's not putting those satellite dishes in for doors.
Remind me about the satellite dish, bro.
They still have it.
It's huge. It's like 60 It's like 60 feet.
I just want Jason Momoa to show
They
up.
can ship it to you in parts. You have to just put it together in your backyard.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think when Father June returns, like his whole attitude is very funny. Where it's kind of like, yeah, I'm back, but I'm not really back because I don't care.
Yeah.
He's
like, this is your shitty tongue now.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I got the weight is lifted. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm loving Father June, but yeah, Atoy and Davenport, please just let them separate, go their different ways.
The toy gets custody of
Sure.
the girls.
Yeah, great, good.
I think Chow needs a love interest.
Chow. Well,
Chow
I think-
likes white prostitutes.
He's Alfred Woodard needs to come back. And
Toad
on
in
the show.
Paris!
And they have like a little thing.
Yeah, Chow has a thing for white chicks. He also has a daughter that he gave to Davenport.
Yeah, she's gone.
Where? Oh, she got
adopted.
She got
by
adopted by
rando-
some other
Yeah.
randos.
no-namers. Yeah.
In like another state.
Wouldn't it be weird if it was Strickland?
I
Have we
kind
seen?
of like that about this show.
What's
Because,
that?
JT don't give a shit. He just like...
Stop calling him that.
He's my
You
best
didn't
friend.
say you could call him
And,
that.
and he's just like, this storyline, psycho asylum.
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
Okay. Sophie, whatever.
Whatever.
Daughter, adopted. Okay, done with that one. He just goes down the list. It's like
kind of like in C where like they got rid of what was the like the people who were like ghosts, you know.
Oh, the
yeah.
shadows.
Oh,
The
yeah.
shadows.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Like
stupid.
he was like, that was stupid. We're just gonna
get rid of
not
it.
mention them ever again.
Yeah.
Was Leary in this episode?
No.
No.
Not much.
So
no.
so we didn't get any Leary. We didn't get any Strickland. There were basically they were focused on Bill, Big Dick Lee,
Yeah.
Chow, the Junes, and
Where do we end off in
Mai
this
Ling.
episode with Big Dick Lee and Chow? Both get knocked out, right? That's the end
That
of the
was it.
episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. As far as a cliffhanger, I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I was like, I need.
Were you freaking out?
Yeah,
really?
I legitimately was. I was like, what in the frick, dude? The turn of events, I did not see
was so
coming.
nervous about what's going to happen to them.
Yeah,
I don't think I had enough time to be freaked out because, you know, we're special. We're special people.
Yeah.
And I just pushed play on
Us
the
and
next
JT
one.
were like this, right?
Thank God.
Stop calling
JT's
him
in our
that.
there was some screeners, you know. So
Well, yeah, I'm super glad that I had the privilege of hitting next.
I know.
Because if
I'm not afraid
I'm
of your
sorry.
cliffhanger.
If you guys didn't have the ability to hit next, that's rough.
Fuck you.
Well, even the people on the official podcast, because they've seen, you know, obviously Hun Li was in the episodes, but his co-host had seen all 10 episodes, and she was like, yeah, at the end of this episode, I just don't know like what a normal person would have done if they had to wait for a whole week to find out what happened.
We're not flexing, okay? But it's just we just are lucky, and we've had the privilege of being able to watch these episodes, and I didn't have to experience the cliffhangerness of it, you know. And
To all you normies who are watching this in real time.
Normies.
But you know what's
we
funny?
want to get more of these, okay?
What's funny is for the first 2 seasons, like they were out before we even discovered the show.
Yeah.
And so, like, we're not used to having to wait to find out what happened.
You had discovered the show way before we did. I think you're the ones. Guys really need to watch this show.
Hoon Lee told us about it when we talked to him. When
Hadn't
we
you
were
seen
back
it
when we were
before?
talking about C.
Well, we watched it around the time that we were doing C season 2, I believe.
Yeah.
And this was around lockdown, so like we were just looking
for stuff to watch. Yeah.
And Jude kind of like focused in on this show, and we started watching it. We were like, wow, this is a really good show.
Yeah. I mean, we heard about it once we started talking about C, and we found out that Tropper took over for that show. But I haven't.
You mean JT?
I hadn't had a chance to check it out until we decided to like dedicate the time to do it for the podcast, because we were watching all these other stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll check out C. So I blazed through season 1 and 2, and I was like, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Good show.
And I am so happy that I didn't have to freaking sit on this cliffhanger, because this end of the episode was like, holy shit. I did not think Chow would turn on Big Dick. Like, I knew they didn't like each other, but like a hit?
Yeah.
Like, dang, dude.
Yeah.
That's a drastic measure. And then Happy Jack flipping on Chow at the end. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yes. And that's another interesting thing about this episode. They're doing parallels. Like Hopway and Long Z, the parallels between the second in commands. And then with this, they're doing parallels between like, what lengths are you willing to go to maintain your power?
Yeah.
And with Chow, he's willing to sacrifice the life of Lee.
Yeah.
And with Buckley, he's willing to fuck a girl who's not a redhead.
And
Jude, the setup for that was masterful.
Thank you.
I want to point out that crap. What was I going to say?
Nothing. We're talking about redheads and
because
sex.
I was too funny.
Broken.
I know what I was going to say. So I want to point out that the scene at the end of this episode where Happy Jack comes in, knocks out Big Dick Lee, and then double crosses Chow. I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but like you know how we're always saying like Happy Jack never looks happy. He looked very happy at the end of this episode.
He did.
Yeah, well, like when he's doing terrible fucked up shit, he's very happy.
Yeah.
Everything's working out for Happy Jack.
It's like
I got the
coming
fake
up
money.
Happy
I got the good money. I got the real money. I got to get rid of the guy at
Oh,
my side.
yeah.
I get rid of the guy.
He's
that's
gonna get the
fucking
reward.
My cousin.
Yeah.
You know,
I felt like-
get this cop out of my bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all.
It's a good day for Happy Jack.
good day for Happy Jack.
I felt really bad for Chow. I felt like he kind of stepped in it with that one where he put the money down and then he's like, no. That's my money. And I was like, oh shit, Chow. You didn't think that was going to happen?
Yeah.
Chow's off his game, I think, in this episode.
Look how handsome Bill looks in
God,
his
Bill
little
is the
in his
freaking.
suit.
He is such a good
Taking
looking
her
dude.
to a nice restaurant.
I
bringing her
can't
flowers.
pronounce the actor's name, but goddamn, he's a good looking dude.
Got one of those itchy ass wool suits on. It's like,
Yeah.
no, thank you.
God, look at that beard. I wish I had a beard.
That's a
like
good
that.
looking beard.
God damn
It is.
I got
Combed his
weak ass
hair.
sideburns.
Thinned up a little bit. Lost some weight. It's looking good.
He's like, I wonder if he gets back together, when he gets back together,
Happy fat.
he's gonna get happy fat again. I hope we do. Fat Bill is great.
He hasn't had Lucy cooking for him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If they're back together and he's working at some factory, he better start getting fat.
He's living on whiskey and hamburger helper.
Yeah.
He can't afford to come home with steak every night anymore.
It's not on the take.
Yeah.
Macaroni and cheese and whiskey. Ugh.
We're having steak again. Steak every night.
It just tickles me when you do the Southern accent.
All
I
these
just
fancy
can't do
clothes.
it anymore. What, having steak again?
So,
Bill, where did you get this from?
When she leaves,
Is your back too sore? You want me to get on top?
do they have to go back and live in their
I
little
feel weird that
hovel?
I looked at you when I said that.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm just gonna go.
I can't help it, man. When she does the voice, I lose it.
So if they're back together, do they get to go live in their little stick house
In
get-
San Francisco?
and get rid of all the fancy clothes and stuff?
Yeah, she's looking good living with her sister. She's
Yeah.
gonna be borrowing her sister's
Oh,
clothes.
100%.
Those aren't hers.
Yeah, but he's
everything
like, why-
she owns is gray.
Everything.
Yeah.
Where's the factory? Is the factory in San
I have
Francisco?
no idea.
What factory?
His brother-in-law's factory.
Good question.
Because if the factory's not in San
Oh, you
Francisco,
know, Bill's gonna go work for his brother. Leary's gonna show up and go, "I want you to hire 40 of my boys and some stuff," and then they're gonna have some problems.
you think that's gonna? Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's going to work like 2 days at the factory
Yeah,
and be like, "Fuck this," and leave
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
and go work with Big Dick
He's
Lee.
gonna find out that his buddy Lee is AWOL.
Yeah.
Probably the barmaid is gonna come find Bill and be like, he hasn't been back in
Ooh,
days.
yeah.
You need to go find him. And Bill's gonna come to the rescue.
That'd be great. I love that storyline.
And Lucy's gonna back him because Lee saved their family.
Oh,
You
she
gotta
was-
go. Yeah, you gotta. Lee is basically part of their family
She was
now.
cooking food for him
Yeah.
every night.
Yeah.
She loves Big Dick Lee.
Yeah.
Is
love
that
him
it for
too.
the? Yeah, everybody
think
loves
so.
Big Dick.
That's pretty much.
Everyone loves Big Dick. Those words came out of your mouth.
Facts.
Dude,
Yes, sir.
you're done.
Facts.
Clip it, baby.
Everybody loves Big Dick.
Raise your hand if you like Big Dick.
Jesus Christ.
On that note, that's a perfect way to end this episode. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you're enjoying the recaps, I guess, of Warrior Season 3. These videos have been doing really well for us when it comes to Warrior stuff. So welcome if you're brand new to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Please hit the subscribe button, share it, share the joy of Warrior with everybody. Let people know how good this freaking show is.
Yeah,
And,
tell your friends to watch this show because it's amazing.
Yeah, and we've been getting some really good comments on our YouTube videos too. Like really succinct, like intelligent comments about the storylines and what characters are doing. So keep it up. I love reading them. They're great. I might steal some of them and make them my own. But, you know,
Have to do a
it's my thing.
nerds read cool comments show or something.
Oh, that'd be kind of fun.
I haven't done one of those for a while.
All right. So thank you all so much again. And stay tuned next week. Cliffhanger. We're going to figure out what's going on with Big Dick Lee and Chow. They took a ride somewhere, and we're going to figure out what's going on with that. This storyline is going to unravel.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And we've got, we've got some other stuff we need to talk about too.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Yes. Sprechen Sie Deutsch. Big tits coming. All right. On that note,
Stay sticky.
stay sticky. See ya.